You're listening to Adeshokwe Live, the Afrobeats Podcast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another edition of Adeshokwe Live, the official Afrobeats podcast here at the Afromedia Studios in London. This is where we break down the hottest topics in the culture. And some of the times I bring a one-to-one guest with myself to have a sit down. Before I go into my guests, shout outs to all the support from LM Media, Shoobs.com, where you can go and get your tickets to some of the hottest events in the UK, bottomless brunches, Afrobeats parties, concerts, the whole nine. You can go on there and get your tickets. And if you're a promoter, an events promoter, you want to promote your events to the right audience, Shoobs.com has got you covered as well. It's very simple. Just visit Shoobs.com and get Shoobs in now. To my guests in the building, this is one of my closest friends in life and also one of my closest friends in the music business. Is a music manager, a CEO of a record label, Efizi Entertainment. You already know my jigger. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my brother, Taiye Aliyu. How you doing, brother?
Man, long flights, long nights, man. We're here. This is quarantining and still here. This man took me up. If anybody can catch me, now this man carry me.
This guy, listen, I know you didn't come. You came to see the studio, where we they spend the money. You came to have a look, but I thought it would be crazy to have someone like yourself in the studio and not get you behind the microphone to speak. You've managed, one of the most successful entertainers out of Africa in the last decade. In YEMI Alade, you've walked her through her career from the beginning to now. The experience along the way is very invaluable. So we need to share. First of all, your story in the music business.
Man.
How did you come into this game?
So for me, I have always loved music from the get-go. I remember when I was in primary school, when my elder brother just came back from secondary school, and it was the Running Man that was so he taught me the
MC Hammer days.
Taught me the Running Man. I was intrigued. I used to ask them about entertainment in Jos, because I schooled in St. Joseph's College, Vom in Jos. And he was there before me, and I was asking him how was school. He was telling me that the whole ball get different, lead days, meeting girls.
Yeah, man.
I was like, man, I can't wait. When I went to school, from one, I started doing I had dance groups. I used to go to Semorumba. I used to marvel at P-Square because they were dancing by then.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to marvel at P-Square. I used to hear about stories about them traveling and girls running at them, and it was crazy. So every time I went for any lead day, so we had a rival female school called St. Louis College, where my twin sister was. And then there was Semorumba, where P-Square was. And then there was also St. John's. So we used to have lead days and competitions, and P-Square used to floor everybody. So the idea was to work hard to go and beat them. So I used to look up to people in secondary school, try to get that social life, try to listen to music. That I would play music, press stop,
to write the
lyrics, rapping, Vanilla Ice, Busta Rhymes. The list was endless. Boys to Men. My mom used to work she used to be a teacher. So anytime she sees anybody's thing, she was like, I see somebody's CD. Hear the music. Go and listen to the music. So I used to listen to Babyface. I'll go play it. I knew all the lines. And it was funny because the most interesting thing was my one of my best friends in secondary school was half Italian, half Nigerian. So whenever I used to go and see his mom, you know how it is now for youngins, finishing school, what are you going to study? I want medicine, engineering. They'll ask me, I say, I want to do music. They'll say, but there's no music course. What is music? I say, I want to own a record label. They're like, what is... his mom was a vet. She always asked me, how do you want to do this in Nigeria? What? But I never ever told my dad, though, but my mom knew. So when I finished from secondary school and I went to university, I used to hear about a club called Lala in ABU. And they used to throw the maddest raves.
Parties.
Baddies, man.
Beautiful girls.
Beautiful girls, mad cars. You know, the north, people don't understand that. Even if there was Lagos and there's Ibadan, OU, and the north was different because Babangida, the former president, his sons
The
were
governors
there.
and the
Governor
ministers.
And Obasanjo, and so there was a lot of power play and wealth and women. It was crazy. So, there was a guy called Mohammed Mijindadi. Ogamo, no vex for me. Like, I know say you don't turn boss. Now he's like he's right now he's the MD of General Electronics in Nigeria. So he's a
Big boss.
So Ogamo, I'm loyal to your government. And there's another guy called Doshu Odekunle. His father is late. So he died this year, I think. Professor Odekunle. He was the first professor in criminology. He also served under I think he was at Abacha's government or I don't know, either Abacha or Babangida.
One of the military regimes.
Yes, and they even locked him up. They nearly killed him.
Wow.
You know, so those were the guys that were my egbons in the industry in Zaria. So the last thing that I know that I could clearly remember is, and there's another guy called Taiye Aliyu. He's a big real estate mogul in Nigeria, in Abuja. So there was a group of people, like 6 or 7 people, and most junior brother and that quota was there. So we all had quotas to contribute money. So the last thing that we did was we brought tribesmen to Lake to that.
Wow.
So that's how I met. The story is so funny. So that's how I met Freestyle LD.
Freestyle is actually in London now.
Yes, that's how I met Freestyle. And Freestyle was the one that gave us the studio to record Johnny.
Wow.
So it was the connection from
Zaria, from university.
That so when I met him in Nugu, I was like, I remember when he came to Zaria, I was like, oh, so you were there. I was like, yeah, we're part of the people. We were like, wow. So he also brought the bond closer. So he was the one that got the studio that YEMI and Celebra recorded Johnny in.
Wow. The record that changed the whole game.
Yeah, so that was the time that when LD and Tribesmen came, and I met all of them. Don't forget that LD was also an indigene of Kaduna.
Yes.
So the guy, so Taiye Aliyu went to...
You have to be careful with punching the table. The producer will punch you now. Carry on talking.
So Taiye and LD were classmates. So it was just like God bringing things together. They were just mixing. And the thing is, for me, after university, when Most said left, it was now left for us to keep the legacy. That's when we started FEZ. So we're 4. There's a guy called Femi, but he moved to the US. So it was me, Dip, and Eze. And then we now realized that Dip was the entertainer, because whenever we're throwing shows, instead of Dip to be at the gate or finding out how much we're selling, he'll be dancing and people will now...
We're looking at him.
So we tried to be like a duo. And I said, you know what, I'm not really good at this thing.
He can do it.
But I now went to go and read about people like Diddy. I read about there's a lady called she's on Instagram called Rapper. Is it Rapper? I forgot her name, but there's a guy in UK called Steven.
Yeah, they interviewed her.
He interviewed her.
Yeah, she used to be part of Def Jam or Rock Nation or whatever.
She was the first person to sign a big paycheck for a rap group. She got a big paycheck for Cash Money and Young Money.
Yes.
So I dedicated a semester of holidays when people were going on December holidays. I went online. I downloaded her books and her talks, and I read about it, and I read about management, and I now realized, okay, this thing.
Move close to Mike.
I now realized that this thing I can do it, and this is what I want to do. And so I now told Deep, I said, let me manage you. And I said, okay, so let's start. The first thing that she said in her book was that we should start from our environment around us. So we started from the environment around it. We said, okay, we're the ones that do concerts in ABU, but we're no more going to do a concert. We're going to do a concert for the release of your new single. So it was crazy because we went to Kaduna, printed the posters, came back. We walked with our legs from ABU to Congo. So Congo campus is the second campus.
Yeah.
We walked. We pasted around ABU. We were holding buckets of gum. We now went on the road at 11 in the night.
Yeah, I've done that.
Stapling on trees,
streets, yeah.
walking straight to, and this is like coming. This is like from.
Yeah.
This is from like what's the name of the airport again? Heathrow Airport to Essex. It was far, or to Grace.
Yeah,
it was far.
Yeah.
We walked all the way. We finished it that night. We finished like by maybe like 3 a.m. And do you know the funny part is that we were not even scared that anything would happen to us.
Yeah.
We were just going. So when we did it, it was a successful show. He had recorded songs which he sang that day. People were. It was crazy. It was. I can never forget. I even have pictures.
When it comes to management, one of the things that you and I consistently butt heads about is the different styles of management and managers. Some people are not trained well enough, don't know, they're not doing the right things in that manager capacity when it comes to African pop artists. And a lot of times we criticize the entertainers for their shortcomings and their failures, but we don't look at who's handling the business in the background. What are the most important parts of this business that you will say to young, up-and-coming managers, number one, and then number two will be to musicians and creatives in selecting their managers? What should they be looking for?
Hey, that's deep.
Yeah.
It's deep because it's as much as it's deep, it's still very simple because it's a matter of choice. Most of the people that end up being successful managers end up being in the forefront. Like Justin Bieber's manager.
I just spoke about him a couple seconds ago, Scooter Braun.
And there's another guy that manages Tiger now. That manages what's that guy that Adekunle Gold says he likes one white boy that sings.
Oh, the London guy, Post Malone, the British guy.
The guy that manages him too is I follow him too, and he's now like a celebrity too.
Yeah, he's become.
So I feel like one of the things that most managers should learn, because managers are the lifeline between the label and the artist. And I also consider them as CEOs of their own companies, because your management company, your management service is a company that you are running. Even if you don't file it in physically as a company, you are what people cannot see, but that is the success of the artist. So it's very subliminal, yet it's very loud, all at the same time. And it's very how will I say now? What will I say? Is it audacious? It's crazy because most of the time people do not respect what you do, and people overlook what you do. But the major thing that you need to know as a manager is you are an individual, and you are not supposed to care about how people feel or perceive you. All you're supposed to be trying to do is sell the merchandise, which is the artist.
Get the best for the artist.
Get best for the artist. And you also have to make sure that it is reciprocal. That as much as you want to die for the artist wants to die for you. Because, I always tell people, once the manager is outdoing the artist, it's already a failed project. It's already there's no need to go forward because you cannot be hungrier than the product. So there are so many thin lines, and the honest truth is that I always wish that a lot of people had some form of education, especially in Africa, because you see, most times I see a lot of managers going so hard, and I see a lot of managers overthinking it and getting so confused. And I always say to myself, because I tried to not to feel like as if I know it all.
Yeah.
And I know it best, because every situation is
Different.
It's different and peculiar to his own self. So you cannot just say this is this and this is that. And I had to learn that through the hard way. But you see, even when your artist maybe fizzles and maybe blows, maybe or fizzles maybe with one big song, you are still a winner as a manager. Don't feel like as if because your artist is not doing number one records for the next 10 years. Being a manager is the same thing as being an artist too. You're going to fall down and stand up again. So as much as you know that is also a focal point for you as a businessman and as an entrepreneur, to know that you're always learning. So don't beat yourself down because you have failed and then you stop totally. Because a lot of people, before I found YEMI, I went through at least like 20 or 30 artists.
Damn.
You know, and not even going through the artists. I went through my own personal
growth,
where I felt like as if I shouldn't be doing music. Like I met a whole lot of people that are family, and they told me, Taiye, this music thing is not working for you. Just get a 9 to 5. You know, and some people will say, Taiye, keep on doing what you're doing. What do you need for me to support you? And I was like, everybody's built differently. I've never ever been crazy about money. Even maybe in the beginning I was crazy. I now realized that because one of the things that used to happen to me personally was, as an entrepreneur, I used to feel like as if, when there's no money, I'm so depressed. And then I now went for some seminars, which my business partner paid for me to go. And when he paid for me to go for the seminars, I was broke. So I was vecting for him. I said, why are you paying for
Why
seminar?
don't you give me money to
Let me eat. Let me enjoy myself. The guy was like, no, go. When you go, you will thank me. Because the first thing my business partner told me was that, why did you come to me with this business plan? And I told him, I said, I'm tired of doing it alone. I said, I want to know. I said, it's not finance I want. I said, I want to know that if I'm falling, there's somebody to be the pivot, so I don't fall and just shatter. And he says, okay. And he says, that's nice. He now says, what again do you want? And I say, anything that you can teach me, just to make sure that I balance my feet on the ground. And he's like, okay, I'm going to teach you to fish, but I'm not going to give you money. And I'm like, I don't want money. And sometimes, so I stay with him, and you ask me in the morning, what do you want? And I say, I don't want maybe 500 naira and 1K. Just climb bike, go here. And I'll be like, And the trick for me as a manager, I always say is, they're just maybe, I would go back to beginning and say that maybe for me, they're just like maybe 2 or 3 powerful things that I feel like managers should be.
And they are?
The first one is, I don't know whether it worked for you, but it worked for me. You have to find a balance between thinking about the artist and thinking about yourself. Because in as much as you are pushing a brand, you also as a manager have to become the brand. Because it is what you say or do that people will read as the artist doing it. So whatever you say based on your passion is what people are going to pick and say, there's a guy called, or there's a lady called YEMI ALADE, and this guy spoke about her. Have you heard any of her music? Is she that good?
So you must believe, you must carry that.
You must carry that cross. But at the same time, you must also make sure that you don't burn yourself out, in the sense that you also have to secure your own future. And I tell most people, I said, and I had a meeting with somebody, like an artist and her manager recently, and I said, you have to sign a management contract with your manager now when you are hustling. Because when you start to enjoy, you are going to forget how you suffered.
That's deep.
That's deep.
When money comes, you forget.
Yes. And then because money is a spirit, it can go two ways. It might develop you or it might crash you. So most times I always tell people, once you get the hard things out of the way, it is also a strategy for developing yourself to go into the real world.
The business world,
business
where
world.
deals have to be done
Yes.
regardless of relationships.
And the truth is, moving forward, I always tell people this thing, but they seem not to understand me. You see, I'm going back now again, because when somebody spends 1 naira on you and somebody spends 1 day on you, you see, you cannot quantify
The one day.
but the 1 day outweighs the 1,000 naira. It even outweighs 1,000,000 naira or even $1 million.
Because they sacrificed their own time that they could use to develop themselves.
And don't forget that they can never get the time back. So when people actually literally die on your matter, you need to do the same. Reciprocate. But most artists feel like as if it is their right, because I'm the one that's talented and gifted. But do not forget, they say no pressure, no diamond. So if the manager does not create pressure around the gem, it cannot become a diamond.
Can blossom.
So that's what I always try to let people understand, that it is your duty as a musician to make music, because that's your gift and it is your job. So you don't need applause. Nobody needs to clap for you. I cannot clap for LeBron James for shooting the basketball. It is his job.
That's his
If
job.
you know shoot, you don't go collect salary. You know go. LeBron James is everywhere around the world right now. On this is Space Jam 2.
Yeah.
He's everywhere. Same thing with Messi.
Yep.
Same thing with Ronaldo. Same thing with all the big names, even Neymar, all of them. But the reason why people love them so much is because as much as the fans are passionate, they live up to the time.
They deliver when it's crunch time.
So if you need to pay the big bucks, you will go to the people that deliver when it's crunch time.
If I'm going to ask you on the artist side, what should an artist look for
In a
when
manager,
they're trying to select a manager?
artists don't look for any manager. It will all come together. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. See, I always tell people, I say, it's sad because there's so many talented people, but many are called, but few are chosen. And that's the way it's going to be. There's nothing you can do about it. There are 1,000,000,001 talented people, but it all depends on so many factors, and only a handful are going to make it. But it does not mean that because you are not going to be in the handful, you cannot be successful too. So you have to, I always tell people, say, when you walk into a situation, open your eyes and open your ears.
For other opportunities.
You have to learn. I've met some artists before, and I told them, I said, for me, it feels like you might not be a big artist, but it feels like you'll be a bad songwriter that can change the world. And they were like, and over 5-6 years, you see them, they are nothing. But they had that potential to blow, but it never happened. But they are still writing small. But if they are
concentrated on that writing ability,
so it's the same thing that, like I always tell people. I say, spoke to somebody today. I told him, I said, see, nobody owes you anything. So in as much as you're beating up yourself, you also have to pick up yourself, because you owe it to yourself
to be successful.
So as a manager, first things first, look out, work the talent, work the artist. Second thing is teach the artist to work harder than you. Third thing is promote and push the artist and sign a contract. Because you need to secure your own future. Most times, most managers don't secure their futures. And
they're just selfless. We're just working because of love.
Working. But you need to take out the difficult difficult conversations.
Mm.
And you need
I
to
have the contract
and
to sort that out.
You need to also teach the artists how to talk about those difficult conversations, because it's important for both of you to learn, so that moving forward, when other contracts are coming and things,
There's no ambiguity. We know where we stand.
And when you start making money, you now know that this is the manager's own and this is my own, and it's not going to be painful, because you already know that this manager is doing it for me. And also, I always tell managers to learn to balance your sheets. Learn to anything you do. Audiomack told me that thing. Anything you do, even if it's 1 naira you're spending, you have to write it down. You have to write it down, so that at the end of the day,
There's transparency.
and you also know as a manager how much you've sacrificed. Because when you get to the promised land, sometimes they'll say, you did not do anything for me. Meanwhile, that guy, he might have even sold his own car, sold his house, just for your dream. And because now you have now seen the bling and the flashing lights, you now say, he really did not do anything for me. I'll choose that guy instead of my manager. And when your career tanks, you now say, what did I do? And I was speaking to somebody in the car before I got here, and I was telling the lady, I said, it's funny because nobody teaches you how to feel. You just take your own self and you crash it.
And you crash too.
And you because of the fact that nobody taught you how to keep the memory of the process. You don't know how to repeat.
You don't know how to retrace your steps.
So it's like you have gone.
Once the failure comes, people can't walk. A lot
And
of people disappear.
A lot of people, like a lot of even managers, artists, or individuals, burn bridges. So you don't know how to trace back. So that's how you see a lot of people at home. You say, oh, I was the one that created the national anthem, or I did the flag. But why did you not
maintain something that you could put you in a position?
It's because there will always be hard unknowns. But you always have to learn from the experience. And that's the hardest thing to do as an entrepreneur. I'll say it, not even as an entertainer, as an entrepreneur, learning from your experience. Because as a manager, my partner taught me how to talk about the difficult things first. So you have to put it out there. Money is coming in. You have to put it out there and say, money is coming in. He told me, he said, Taiye, the rule is that you must pay yourself first. So people get confused. People will say, money is coming in. I will take the whole money as my own because of greed. But you're supposed to, because you have spoken about the difficult things, everybody knows their percentage already. So when anything comes in, you already know that this is for this and this is for that. And everybody goes. And then when it gets to the point where anybody's uncomfortable, you speak about it and you go separate ways. But you know that you did the right thing.
My brother, as always, I just thought it was important to have that conversation with you. Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge. Again, it's a special guest in the building, my brother, Taiye Aliyu. I would have asked you for your social media, but there's no point in promoting you.
Baba, promote me. My social media, I have, wait first, make a start.
Please.
Facebook, Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm
You're on
on
TikTok?
Triller.
Please.
I'm everywhere. May follow me, Taiye Aliyu _ on Twitter. Taiye Aliyu on Instagram. Taiye Aliyu on Facebook. Follow my fan page. Follow my TikTok, still Taiye Aliyu. Follow my Triller, still Taiye Aliyu. God bless you guys. I want to tell you guys something very important. I just want to put this out there, and this is for. I'm going to be a little bit partial to this is for Black people, and again, this is for the whole world. The most important thing for me as an individual, I don't know whether you see me as successful, but I'm happy. I'm blessed to be where I am right now, and I'm happy. I'm blessed to be in some rooms and have the opportunity that I have. But I want to say something to you. When people believe in you, you cannot let them down. So you must believe in yourself. And when you win, make sure you win with the people that have believed in you. Because a typical example is the reason why I'm in London, and there are a series of things that have happened to me, from getting my American passport to getting to traveling the world. The person that pushed us to travel this world is Mr. Shokwe. He pushed our first ticket out of Nigeria was Mr. Shokwe, because he told somebody to get us on a plane to come and do promotion in London. So seeing the world from a different perspective has kept us here. This is 8 years down the line.
Facts.
And still, we're still here, and we're still trying our best to teach and show many people the ropes. So I think that the most important thing is having people in your team that you will win with. And I always want to tell people this thing. It's very complicated, yet it's very simple. A lot of musicians, especially, think that they need a team of 100 to 200 people walking around them like a village. But a village can just be one person. Like Oga Shokwe. Shokwe is a village and a city. You just need somebody to make sure that you wake up every day, check on you, and make sure you're doing the right thing, make sure you're healthy, make sure you're well, and make sure that you are you have a positive mindset to deliver. And I feel like that's all you need. You don't need... I said the same thing to somebody right just before I got off the car. A lot of people getting misconstrued because they think that a team of people is having 10 to 20 people in a team. But you just need 1 or 2 people, the right
Believers.
people, the right people. And you see that same woman, the woman that I read about, Kashma, she said the same thing too. She said, you don't need everybody, you just need the right people. Your team, even if it's 2 or 5, that's all you need. And you are winning. Keep on winning with those same people and keep on improving. But don't feel like as if you need 300,000. That's it, man. Keep it simple, keep it light.
Keep it simple, keep it light. It's the Afrobeat Podcast. I'm Adeshokwe Olajide. Shout outs to everybody. Catch us same place, same time. Next week, my brother. Appreciate it, man.